Last year, Miami and Cincinnati tangled in the highest scoring shootout ever between these two schools. Redskin quarterback Terry Morris threw for over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. But that couldn't outdo the Bearcat tandem of quarterback Dan McCoy and tailback Reggie Taylor. The Bearcat backs amassed almost 650 yards in Cincinnati's 45-38 win. This year has been a different story for both offenses. Miami has failed to find the end zone with quarterback troubles and key injuries. Miami's offense has sputtered while head coach Tim Rose tries to pull the right strings. In Cincinnati, Heisman hopeful Dan McCoy is off to a rocky start. The all-time Bearcat passer hasn't been able to get the UC offense firing on all cylinders. So it's a critical game for both teams as they try to get on track in the 92nd meeting between the Miami Redskins and the Cincinnati Bearcats.
From Nippert Stadium on the campus of the University of Cincinnati, it's the 92nd meeting between the UC Bearcats and the Miami University Redskins. This is Bob Long along with Greg Christopher. There are some big question marks on offense for both of these two teams in this old rivalry. For the Miami Redskins, Greg, one of the first questions is the health of quarterback Mike Bates.
That's right. Mike suffered a separated shoulder in the Eastern Michigan game. Now, while he played in the Syracuse game, and he's going to play tonight, he's going to be wearing a harness on his left shoulder for the rest of this season. Now, it's not going to affect his throwing any, but it will affect his mobility somewhat.
One constant, though, for the Redskins is the play of wide receiver Andy Schillinger.
Schillinger had 12 touchdown receptions to go along with his 46 total receptions last year. But by no means is Schiller a game breaker. He doesn't have great speed, but he is a great possession receiver.
There are some... And we are live at Nippert Stadium again as we get ready for the ball game, as the Miami Redskins will be kicking off to start this ball game, the 92nd meeting in 99 years. Next year will mark the 100th anniversary of the beginning of this series, and there'll be a big celebration for that. But not much to celebrate for these two teams so far this season, Greg Christopher. The Redskins enter 1-2. The UC Bearcats also at 1-2. Gary Gusman has the ball teed up here on the Nippert Stadium artificial surface as the Redskins deploy to kick off to Ed Johnson and also Dwayne Hunter for UC. And this 92nd game between these two schools is underway. That's Hunter back at the 5-yard line. Got a good lane to the outside and brings it up 6 to the 24-yard line. A return of about 19 yards to start the ball game. And now we'll see Danny McCoy, the troubled quarterback of the Bearcats.
It's going to be interesting to see how McCoy gets off. He's had slow starts against Rutgers and Penn State in the first and third games of the season. So it's going to be critical for him to get off to a good start tonight.
He's had about 380 yards passing in 3 games, well below his average of last year. And we'll be talking more about that as we go into tonight's ball game. Leonard Try and Alan McKinney are the two backs in the eye as we have the first play from the line of scrimmage at the UC 24. And it's McKinney. Good speed for the running back. He busts that one up to the 31 before Rod Korn comes up to make the stop. It'll be second down and about 3 as he got 7 on that first carry.
He's running over the right side of that line, which is a huge offensive line. It outweighs the Miami defensive line by 20 pounds.
Actually going to give him 8 yards as he got up to the 32-yard line. So it is 2nd and 2. The wide receiver, the man to watch, Roosevelt Mukes. He's got 10 receptions to lead the Bearcats. He is their speed burner. It's the pitch out to McKinney. Not much room that time. He is thrown down behind the line of scrimmage for a loss of about a yard that time. Looked like Andrew Marlette came up there to help make the stop. So it's going to be 3rd and long. Pete Mather was also in there to help break up that play.
Here's the defensive line for Miami. Chris King is a sophomore, but he actually has 4 years of eligibility left. The linebacking crew, Pete Mather is in there starting right now. He's replacing Matt Kahn in the inside, and the defensive secondary is very experienced for the Redskins.
And it's 3rd and 3. Possible passing situation here for McCoy. He's looking deep down the middle, got a man open, and it's caught by Sanders out at the 47-yard line. Rod Korn again on the stop, but McCoy has his first completion of the night.
That's what Danny McCoy does best. He gets a good drop back, and he looks for his receiver. Sanders is replacing Joe Heiss, who was last year's leading receiver for UC, and he's an excellent receiver going across the middle. Once again, UC doesn't have a big game receiver. They don't have anybody who's really fast, but Sanders and Heiss are great possession receivers like Schillinger.
1st and 10, the first down of this ball game, and it's up to the UC 48-yard line. A 17-yard reception by Sanders. McCoy faking, rolling, got the screen set up to Leonard Cry. He doesn't catch too many passes, but he gets rumbling down to about the Miami 45-yard line. Tom Fisher, Jerry Pochko came up there on the stop, but another good first down gain, and that, of course, is always important for any offensive team to pick up 7 or 8 yards and set up that second down situation. There you can see McCoy faking and then turning around. He's got the screen beautifully set up, and it picks up a good gain of about 6 or 7 yards.
A really nice one-handed catch by Cry. He and McKinney were practicing those catches even before the game. Little one-handed passes back and forth from each other.
We'll give it a gain of 6 for Cry. It's 2nd down and 4 at the Miami 46-yard line. We're in the first 2.5 minutes of this ball game. Big hole for McKinney down to the 36. Great blocking up front. Again, Rod Korn had to come up out of the secondary, but not before McKinney got another first down to the 35, a gain of 9 more yards.
Al McKinney has been living in the shadow of Reggie Taylor for the past 2 years. He was an Ohio High School Offensive Back of the Year. He put up some great numbers in high school his senior year. He rushed for 2,398 yards. And get this, Bob, 49 touchdowns in 1 year.
Not something you do usually in college, but it's possible in the high school ranks. 1st and 10 at the Miami 35. A good drive so far. Cry is stood up there in the middle, bounces off several people, but he's swarmed under. Fisher was in there on the initial hit, along with a host of other Redskins. Jeff Anderson on the bottom of the pack, also Andrew Marlette. So Cry didn't get much that time. He went sideways quite a ways there. Cry, again, is the starting fullback. He's had over 100 yards and been averaging about 6 yards per crack so far this season.
He finished last spring as the #1 fullback, taking the place of Robert Williams, who started last season but suffered a broken leg in the Virginia Tech game, the first game of the season. So Cry and Tackett have taken over, and they've done a fantastic job.
It's 2nd down now, and some movement in the line, but they get it off. There's a pass incomplete. Looked like somebody jumped, but I guess not. It'll be 3rd down and 9. That's the first incompletion for McCoy. Korn on the coverage back there. Passes out to Bill Davis, who's also one of the top receivers on this team, along with Roosevelt Mukes.
Davis had his best game ever last year from McCoy. And McCoy, as you can see there, holds the Bearcat record for career passing yards. And tonight, sometime, if he gets 149 yards, he's going to break the all-time total yardage record for a Miami player, or for a Cincinnati player, excuse me.
That's for both rushing and passing. So it's 3rd down and 9 now for McCoy. He's driven his team down to the Miami 34. And he's straight back to pass. Got great protection all day, but he overshoots his man Mukes out in the flat, and he overshot him by a mile.
He had all day back there. He could have gone back there, set up, taken his time. Mukes was doing the right thing. He was well covered, and he was coming back to the quarterback like they teach a good receiver to do.
So it is going to be 4th down, and right now Gary Overgaw is in there. One of 2 place kickers. Phil Insulaco's the other, but this one is going to be a try of about 51 yards with it, the 10 yards of the end zone. He's going to punt it instead. He faked the place kick, booms it toward the corner. He might make it. It goes out of bounds, caught by a UC cheerleader, I think, down there. Let's see where they mark the ball. At about the 6-yard line, so a little trickery there. Overgaw is the starting punter, and he fooled Miami on that play. It did look like he might try the 51-yard field goal attempt.
A little variation of the quick kick you might see every once in a while where the quarterback takes it. interesting setup. Keeps the Miami people from having anyone back to get the ball out.
So Overgaw does the job, and he puts Miami in a hole. Ball back at the 6. So Miami is in the hole early on. Mike Bates to bring his team up, and we'll see if tonight Miami can get its running game untracked. Right up the middle, John Gist, big hole. Look at him go. Out to the 19, he stumbled and fell, or he might have gone about another 5 or 10 yards. Mike Kelly got him, but a good opening play for the Miami offense. Gist getting a first down.
That's a good omen for the Miami offense. If Gist can get the running game going along with the right side of the line, Schmidt and Gebhardt there, they open some huge holes, and Gist gets out, and he's on his own.
You can see, I think he goes down on his own. He does. He does not really get touched. He just fell on his own after a pickup of 12 yards. So a first down for John Gist and the Miami Redskins. Again, it's Gist, and some more good yardage. He gets about 6 more. Art Sheffield made the stop, but Gist running very hard, gets the ball out to the 24, and it'll be 2nd down and 4.
A nice little draw play there. One thing, here we can see the Miami lineups. Bates is taking over for Terry Morris last year. Gist is a transplanted defensive back. Schillinger, as we said earlier, led the nation in touchdowns last year for receptions.
Bill Jawitz, by the way, alternates quite a bit with John Stopet, one of the wide receivers. They bring in a lot of the plays from Coach Tim Rose. So it's 2nd down and 4 as Gist got 6. And Bates with his first pass zips it to Schillinger. Out to the 40. He's going to break the tackle and go a long way. Finally out of bounds at about the 40-yard line of UC, and a flag is thrown over on the sidelines, and he is knocked down to the track.
They had a late hit, and Schillinger's down, I think. He went down, he got onto the cement there, and he's hurt.
John Lewis was the one that pushed him out, but the flag was thrown down at the 33. Schillinger broke a tackle. He should have been stopped right after about a gain of 16 yards, but instead it's a huge gainer. Let's watch it again. Bates, good pass. And there Schillinger breaks the tackle. He's going to go down the sideline, and we'll see if we can catch this late hit coming up here. They pushed him after he's already out of bounds. There's 18, giving him a shove over there. And he falls on to the track. And that's going to take the ball even further down into UC territory. He was pushed out at about the 40, and the 15-yard step-off takes it all the way to the UC 25.
It looks like he's okay. I'm sure he'll be back in a game that's as critical as this for the Redskins.
That was a gain of 36 yards on the pass play. Tack on 15 more, so you have a net gain of 51 yards on that play. And with 10 minutes left in the first period, Miami driving in this scoreless duel. Gist and Thomas in the backfield, and this is Thomas, and he will go absolutely nowhere. Chris Asbeck was in there. It's going to be 2nd down and still about 9 yards to go. The first carry of the night for Chris Thomas. We should mention that up front line again of Miami's does a good job of blocking. Matt Kemper, John Schaefer, Sean Riley, Tom Schmidt, and Randy Gebhardt. So Bates facing 2nd down, and we'll call it about 8 yards to go from the UC 23. He's got Schillinger and Stopa flanked this time, and he's looking Stopa's direction. Got him in the corner, caught at about the 5-yard line. John Lewis again was over there, but Bates is threading the needle.
That was a great pass by Bates. Watch this. It's like a frozen rope on a line out to Stopa. There we'll see Stopa. He gets right inside Rhodes.
Nice catch down at the 5. They're going to spot it actually at the 6-yard line. So a gain there of 17 yards. And the Redskins are threatening to do what they did last year against UC, and that's take an early lead. Bates down over center. Ball at about the 6-yard line this time. This is Gist. Got some room down to about the 3 or 4. Stewart in there on the stop that time. So it'll be 2nd and goal. Gist, as we said, has had a mediocre season to start off with 28 rushes for 78 yards coming into this game. An average of less than 3 yards per game, but he's done very well so far tonight. He's already picked up 20 yards in 3 tries. So Miami facing 2nd and goal. They've got the ends in tight now. Let's see what Bates elects to do here if they go wide with the ball. It is Thomas trying to sweep. He's got the corner turned, and he's going to go in. So but we do have a flag. We have a flag down in the middle of the field. Hold everything. Let's see who this one goes against. The officials are conferring down there on the field, and we'll see what it is. I don't think it's going to be good news for Miami. They are walking back, and they are no longer celebrating. It is a holding call, what we feared it might be for the Redskins, and that nullifies Chris Thomas's touchdown run. That would have been his first TD carry of the season, but it all goes for naught. Rose cannot be too happy with that play.
I think we're going to see the left side of the line for Miami collapse here, and you're going to see people trying to hold their people back. It looks like the tight end, Steve Fumi, was trying to hold his man back there and got caught for holding.
That moves the ball back, and the Redskins will have it now at about the 10-yard line with second down and goal. 8:49 to go, first period of play. No score between these arch rivals. Schillinger will be in there at one wide receiver this time. They also have two tight ends in there, Mike Kuzan and Glenn Huffman, and Schillinger goes in motion to the top of the screen. Going to pitch it out and go this way with Gist, trying to cut it up inside his blockers. Gets down to about the 3-yard line and out of bounds there. So it's going to be third and goal. Walter Johnson helped to push him out of bounds. Booker also over there on the stop.
That's a nice job by Gist. He got everything he could out of that. That play was extended all the way to the end of the sideline. Last year, as you can see, Gist was a defensive back. He got quite a bit of playing time in the Cincinnati game, even had 7 tackles. But he shows his quickness there, getting out to the outside, and he did get a couple of yards.
He did get the ball down to about the 2-yard line, so that was a gain of 8, and it's third and goal from the 2. The Redskins would like to punch it in for 7 here rather than having to settle for a Gary Gusman field goal. We'll see what Bates elects to do on this third and short. They've gone wide every time so far. This time they're going to go the other direction with Thomas. He turns that corner. He should make it. He is in there for the touchdown, and I don't see a flag this time. So Chris Thomas does end up with his first touchdown of the year.
That's Thomas's first touchdown, and there he shows his versatility. Thomas is playing fullback, but he's got tailback speed. He's got tailback size even. He gets out to the outside. He can just turn on the jets and get into the end zone.
So that comes with 8:37 left in the first period of play. And Gary Gusman will try to extend his string. Now we'll watch the sweep. It goes the other direction. They've been running to the left side. They come back to the right. And again, Thomas waltzing in, so some great blocking up front. Gusman now trying to extend that point string for extra points in a row, and he nails it. So we have timeout down on the field. Our score, the Miami University Redskins 7, the UC BearCats 0.
The Redskins look like they got their running game going on track, and that's a key tonight because the running game hasn't really done too much so far this year. And the only thing that is really suspect on the Cincinnati defense is probably the front 5. They're missing all 3 linebackers from last season, and their front 4 on the front there, they play a multiple 40 defense. Those people are somewhat new also.
A long march, too, by the Redskins, which is also good news. Any coach loves to see a team march as the Redskins did. They were pinned back, don't forget, all the way at their 5-yard line or 6-yard line and marched it all the way down the field to put those 7 points on the board. So Miami has the early lead here. And we'll see what that does when Danny McCoy brings his team back out. They ran the ball fairly well in their first series before their drive stalled down at the Miami 35-yard line. Derek Walker, Dwayne Hunter will be back to receive the kick from Gary Gusman, Miami's all-time field goal and extra point leader. Here comes Gusman's boot straight down the field. And again, it'll be Hunter at a 5-yard line. That's where he took the last kick. Out to the sideline, not much room, but he's going to reverse his direction. And he'll be tripped up, a nice shoestring tackle, and he's upset with himself. He thought he could break it, but he just couldn't quite beat the Miami defenders back there. If he would have gotten past one there, he might have been able to go quite a way.
He shows some incredible quickness here, stopping on a dime, turning to his left, and going the other direction. He left a whole bunch of Miami receivers standing right there by themselves.
They were holding some air when they went to grab for him. So UC starts at its own 21 on its second possession. McCoy is the quarterback with Cry and McKinney in the backfield. Up the middle, McKinney, huge hole. Breaks it all the way to the 37-yard line. Greg Wersch had to come up to make the stop from the safety spot, but not before McKinney pounded him for 16 more yards, and he's off to a tremendous start. 34 yards on 4 carries already tonight.
I'm really impressed with the offensive line for Cincinnati. They've only got 2 people back. Irwin Owens, the guard, and Jeff Graham is also back.
So he brought that one out all the way to the 37, 1st and 10. A 16-yard pickup, and McCoyne is back, handing to McKinney, again sweeping the side. Picks up another 8 yards before he's smashed out at about the 45-yard line. Jeff Happ was in on that tackle. Pete Mather was also there. That's what we're talking about, a 94-yard drive in 8 plays, and helped along by a 15-yard personal foul penalty for shoving Schillinger out of bounds after he was already across the sideline there. So that play got 8 yards. It'll be 2nd down and 1, and McKinney is running very, very well against the Redskins so far tonight. Under 7.5 minutes to go in the first period. Redskins on top of UC, 7-0. Miami jumping. Flags down. Cry is dumped in the backfield, but we'll have to see if Miami was drawn off or if it's encroachment. Andrew Marlatt was in on the stop. UC players are clapping, so we assume it's going to be marked off against the Skins. And that's what it is. Defense jumping across, and that will give a first down.
On the concrete.
That'll take the ball up to about the 49, so it's 1st and 10 from there for the UC Bearcats. So this drive now picking up 2 first downs as McCoyne and company try to answer that Miami scoring drive.
I'm half away. Yeah, here.
This time we have Steve Sanders and Roosevelt Mukes flanked out. It looks like McCoyne wants to throw deep. There's the bomb. He's got Mukes out there off his fingertips at the 5. Just let him a little bit too much.
Once again, McCoyne had all the time in the world back there. His offensive line was giving him great time, and Mukes had beaten the Miami secondary and was open if the pass had been there.
He definitely was out there, and as you say, he has had a lot of time, and so far, though, he's only hit 2 out of 5 passes. His receivers have been fairly well covered. That time, Mukes did have the step, but the throw just a little too long. This time Joe Heiss is in the ball game along with Bill Davis as they alternate in 2 other wide receivers who are also good receivers. Heiss has led the team in receiving the last 2 years. McCoyne straight back again. Lots of protection this time. He's got one man harassing him, and he's going to throw the pass to McKinney in the flat. He will go nowhere. A beautiful tackle over there. Jeff Happ was in on the stop. Also Sheldon White came up. So that time they smelled out the screenplay and stopped it right at about the line of scrimmage. He got a very short gain, maybe 1 yard on that one.
The Redskin linebackers read that screen pass very well. They held back. They didn't drop back into their routes completely, and they were able to see McKinney get out there in the flat and go out and beat the offensive lineman and make the tackle.
This time they'll go with 3 wide receivers, Bill Davis, Roosevelt Mukes, and Steve Sanders on 3rd and long, about 9 from the midfield stripe. Low snap, but McCoyne picks it up. Under pressure, gets the pass open to Mukes. He's got it for a first down at the Miami 36. Sheldon White got him. And we have an injured Redskin down on that play, on that coverage. Looked like one of the linebackers.
I think it's Jerry Prochko. He went down when he hit the turf. His arm, when he went down, he hit the turf, and it collapsed right there. We'll be able to see it at the end.
Yeah, we'll see if we can see it here on the replay. There you can see McCoyne stepping up in the pocket. Right there. Oh, I see what happened. He came in underneath, and that's where he got hurt as he came in to help Sheldon White on the tackle.
I think Sheldon White clipped his right shoulder. Jerry Prochko, the outside linebacker, he's starting along with Tom Fisher on the other side.
And as you can see on the replay, it looked like he came in low. White went over top of him along with the receiver, Mukes.
We're going to watch. Sheldon White's going to clip Prochko's right shoulder.
Right here it comes. You can see him. He got him sort of in the back.
Yeah.
He is coming off the field under his own power. Appears to be favoring that shoulder a little bit, but at least he's coming off by himself unassisted there. So we'll see how long it takes to get him back in the ballgame. That was a pickup, though, of 14 yards. Coach Tim Rose with a record of 25, 22, and 1 going into tonight's ball game against the UC Bearcats. His team up in front 7-0. They got off in front of UC last year at Riverfront Stadium. But the UC Bearcats trying to tie it up on this drive. they have shown a lot so far on offense, especially running. And here's McKinney with a gaping hole. Breaks it outside, down to the 20, the 18, the 16-yard line. Finally run out of bounds there by Greg Wirsch. But he made another gain of about 20 yards. And unofficially, I have McKinney with 63 yards already in 6 carries. See it here, the line blocks beautifully up the middle. He turns it to the outside.
The right tackle, Jeff Graham, number 63, made that play for McKinney, the big senior, 280 pounds. Dave Curry called him the best offensive lineman in spring ball, and he's come out this season. He's done a good job blocking for McKinney and Cry.
This drive started back at UC's 21, and it's reached the Miami 16 with 1st and 10. Here comes McKinney again. The Redskins shut this one down a little better. Pete Mather was over there to mess up that play, and then he got some help. McKinney did not do as well last year, but keep in mind, there was another guy in the backfield last year by the name of Reggie Taylor, who was one of the greatest backs that the UC BearCats ever had.
Yardage-wise, he was the best back UC ever had. He was drafted in the 11th round by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but is no longer on their roster.
He got about 4 on that play. It'll be 2nd down and 12. 2nd down and 6, rather, from the 12. Again, Sanders flanked to one side, Davis on the other. Here comes Leonard Cry, the fullback. Breaks one tackle, fumbles the ball, and it's recovered by Jeff Anderson at the 18-yard line. Anderson scrambled out. Mike O'Day was in on the stop initially, but Cry fumbled as he got to about the 11, so the Redskins get a big break.
That's a big break for the Redskins. Anderson comes up with a fumble there. And that's one thing the Redskins haven't been doing this season. They haven't been taking an advantage of other teams' fumbles.
Now let's see whereabouts Cry loses this ball. He's hit right there, breaks that tackle. Rod Korn coming up right there. I think it's O'Day who does cause it, and Anderson falls on it. And Miami gets the ball back at the 17-yard line. So the first turnover of the ball game. With 5.5 minutes left in the first period, and Miami guarding a 7-0 lead. Bates back to pass on 1st down this time. The bomb for Stopa over his head, incomplete.
Stopa was wide open down the middle.
Terry Noble was back on the coverage, but it was over his head too. So Bates, that was his first incompletion of the night. He had passed for 53 yards in that first drive. 2nd down at the 17-yard line for the Redskins. They've been going with Chris Thomas and John Gist in the backfield thus far. So 2nd and 10 again. This time they have Schillinger in there at a wide out along with Stopa. Backs in the eye behind Bates. And Bates wants to hand it off to Gist up the middle, or rather that's Caldwell that time. He got about 2 yards. It's going to be 3rd and long. Mike Kelly up from the linebacking spot to make the stop.
That was Armando Costello on the running there. He got a lot of running action last week against Syracuse. He's a true freshman out of Los Angeles area. Pico Rivera, California, to be exact.
So Miami will face a 3rd and 8 situation. As we said, Costello was just getting into action in that Syracuse loss. This time they've got Stopa and Schillinger there as the wideouts as Bates looks to pass. He's got good time. Now he's forced out of the pocket, scrambling. He's got room to run, and he's going to try to haul it down, but he hesitated a little too long, and Vaughn Booker threw him down about a yard loss, maybe right at the line of scrimmage.
I think Booker's shaken up on the play also. When he threw Bates down, it looked like he stayed down. He's a little bit hurt, and the trainers are out there to take a look at him.
Well, it looked like Bates hesitated a little bit too much. He couldn't make up his mind here. The protection was pretty decent there. He was forced outside. You can see Booker, number 38, chasing over there. He gets there in a big-time hurry and throws him down right there. And I think Bates kind of landed on top of him. And that might be what happened. He might have just had the wind knocked out of him. But at any rate, Bates did get back right to the line of scrimmage. And it's going to be a 4th down. And it'll be the first punting situation of the night for Chuck Conrad, who's had a good year for the Miami Redskins in his first season. However, we won't be getting that punt underway for a little bit because we still have that injured player down, Booker, on the far side of the field.
It'll be a tough break for the Bearcats if they lose Booker. He's one of their better young linebackers. He's taking the place of Alex Gordon, who, as you know, is with the New York Jets now. Booker was moved inside last year. He was an outside linebacker, but he was moved inside because he runs so well. He's a big guy, 6'5" and weighs 216 pounds, but he moves really well.
We saw how well he moved on that last play as he came from the far side of the field, chasing Bates down and nailing him. When it looked like if Bates had turned that ball and gone upfield, he might have gotten close to the first down sticks, maybe not quite.
That's what defensive coordinator Dave Ritchie likes best about Booker.
Down to about the 26-yard line. Now there is some heads-up play by Chuck Conrad. He can't believe it. He's shaking his head. He's been leading the MAC in punting average already this season, and how he ever got that one off, I'm not sure. Let's watch it again. It's a bad snap.
Yeah, Mike Davis's snap is low from the start. Conrad does a great job. I think he thought he was rushed a little bit more. Right here he sees, wait, hey, I've got some more time. I'll just take my time, get a kickoff, and it turns out to be an excellent one.
He got it all the way down to the 28 for a kick of 53 yards. So it's 1st and 10 UC at the 28-yard line. Miami up on top 7-0 early in the game. McCoyne got a man open down the middle. His tight end made that reception. Darrell Huber, Matt Kahn up on the stop. But a good gain on that play.
McCoy's getting all kinds of time back there in the pocket. He can set up, take a look out, look for 5 or 6 receivers if he had them. There's Conrad after the great punt. He came from a junior college out in California, and Tim Rose wasn't even looking for him when he went out there to recruit him. He was looking at film of another athlete, just happened to see Conrad on the film, and the rest is history.
Here comes McKinney, and this is one of the few times Miami has shut him down tonight. As we mentioned on the last series, he had over 60 yards rushing in his first 7 carries. Bob Getz said, stay where you are on that play, and that was the end of that for McKinney. He maybe got 1 out of the play.
There you can see it, the Bearcats, they are outscored by their opponents in the first quarter quite a bit. Now you have to take into consideration some of the opponents they're playing, people like Penn State and Miami, but that doesn't bode well for the UC Bearcats when they get behind that early, that quick.
McCoyne facing a 3rd and 2 situation here. He's got the ends in tight, but he's going to pass. He's looking in Muke's direction or Davis, and he got Davis at about the 49-yard line for a first down.
Nice catch by Bill Davis to come back to the quarterback again, McCoyne. Davis is a former quarterback for the Bearcats. In fact, he got to play last year in the Miami game.
He did come back to that ball there, thrown nicely in between the defenders, and it was good enough for a first down, a gain of 13 up to the 49. So UC is doing very well. An honorable mention, All-American, but as we said, McCoyne has been off to a rough start. If you look at the front of UC's guide this year, they talk about him as a Heisman candidate, but the numbers haven't been there for him this season. There's McKinney again with the ball.
Some of McCoyne's problems have to be attributed to injury problems. He's got a banged-up knee, and he's hobbled a little bit, but still he's an effective passer.
Very fine crowd on hand for this 92nd UC Miami game at Nippert. Not a packed house, but quite a few seats are filled here. They were about 5,000 short going in tonight on tickets sold going into the ball game.
Looks like they've sold quite a few.
2nd and 5. Beautiful pass to Mukes down the middle. Got it to the 31-yard line. Rather, that is Robert Williams. Jim Harnett stopped him. But a big gain there all the way down to the 21. That's a pickup of 24 yards.
That's Robert Williams once again. He was a fullback, moved to tight end now, and a great pass by McCoyne. Williams had threaded the Miami zone and found a seam in there. And it was a nice pass, nice catch, nice play all around.
McCoyne's getting warmed up, 7 out of 10 here in the first period. But his team is down 7-0 to Miami with just under 2 minutes to go in the first period. Last time UC got down here, they fumbled the ball. This time it's McKinney, jammed right at the line of scrimmage. Tom Fisher nailed him hard. He maybe got a couple out of that, but it'll be 2nd and long.
Nice hit by Fisher. He's Bochco's linebacking made on the other side outside.
He got about 2. We'll call it about 2nd down and 8 yards to go.
There you're going to see the crowd. Stadium seats about 25,000. It looks pretty full tonight.
You can see up there in nosebleed heaven in the corner of your picture, there's a few empty seats, but that's about it.
Those are Bob Uecker seats.
That's right. 2nd and 8 from the 19 now. Mukes in motion this time. McCoyne flushed a little, going to loft it out here to Cry, but he is nailed, but he spins and on his own effort got back to the line of scrimmage. Mike O'Day finally got him, but they had him in the backfield. They could have had him for about a 3 or 4 yard loss. Instead, he wiggled out of the tackle and at least got it back to where they were before.
Cry is a load to bring down, 216 pounds. The Detroit native is really tough to bring down, and that's what Dave Curry likes about him at fullback.
Now watch him here as he catches this ball. He's going to be nailed almost immediately. You can see Mather coming up there. But he got back to the line. He was hit in about the 23-yard line and then spun loose from 1 or 2 tacklers and got down to the line of scrimmage. But still, for McCoy, he faces a 3rd and 8 situation. He's had to go to his backs a lot tonight. He has mostly gone, if you look at his receivers this year, a lot to his wide receivers. But tonight he's thrown a couple to McKinney and a couple to Cry out of the backfield. Mukes in motion on 3rd and long. McCoy looking toward the end zone, directing traffic. He's got his man caught for a touchdown, Bill Davis. You could see on that play, McCoy was directing. He said, over here a little bit more. And he did what the quarterback told him. And as you say, Davis, the former quarterback, knows where to find the seam. Let's watch it again. Now watch McCoy. He'll tell him where to go.
You can't help but score a touchdown on a play like that. When he has all kinds of time, you can't help but get the touchdown. Davis knew what to do. He's a former quarterback, as you said. Found the hole, and McCoy directed him, and it's a touchdown.
So the extra point from Phil Insulaco now, and Davis will be the holder. Right at our camera, and it's good. So with 10 seconds left in the first period, our score is now the UC BearCats 7 and the Miami Redskins 7. Let's watch it again. Now just watch at the tail end here. McCoy will tell Davis where he wants him, right there. Moves him out there right in the seam between 2 men. He's hit hard. It was a great hit, but did not jar the ball loose, and Davis gets the score.
Davis has really come on.
The Cincinnati Symphony Orchestra and Miami University's Performing Arts Series season begins at 8 Sunday, October the 4th at Miami's Millette Hall. The concert will feature music by Haydn and Bruckner. After the concert, Miami's 2 o'clock jazz ensemble will perform at a reception at Millette Hall. Tickets for the concert range from $3 to $7, and you can see the phone number on your screen for further information. The Miami Redskins will have Chris Thomas and Maurice Nelson back to take this kickoff. First time the Redskins have been able to receive a kick so far tonight. And it comes right here at the tail end of the quarter. Gary Obergaw, number 2, does the kicking off, although Insulaco does the extra point kicking. UC fans getting into a big cheer here as they get ready for this kickoff in a tie ball game. UC has so far been able to move that ball at will on its 3 drives, but only putting it in 1 time. Nelson will catch it at the 7. Gets it outside, breaks 1 tackle, steps across the 25 to about the 30, so he got a return of about 22 yards before he was finally thrown down. Gary Obergaw, the kicker, was amongst those at least in the neighborhood. I don't know if he made the tackle, but he was over there close. So the Redskins do get it out to, they'll say, the 30-yard line, a 23-yard return. Some of the UC faithful showing off for the camera after their team put the ball in the end zone. It'll be 4 seconds to go, so this probably would be the last play of the quarter. Bates is the quarterback. Mike Bates, the senior, gonna pitch it out here. Gist out to the 38, thrown down hard. He got about 8 yards, and that is the last play of the first quarter. Terry Noble made the big hit. So we have timeout for the end of the period number 1. Our score here, the Miami Redskins 7, the UC BearCats 7. We'll have more in just a moment. It's a 7-7 ball game at Nippert Stadium. The Miami Redskins drew first blood, marching the ball down 94 yards for a touchdown, and then UC responds with a 72-yard scoring drive here to knot the ball game at 7-all. The Redskins are going to have a 2nd down and 2 as we return to action. John Gist had a nice carry to end that first quarter, and he's had a big night so far. Keep in mind the Miami Redskin running backs so far this season coming into the ball game in 3 games had netted 157 yards. That's an average of about 52 a game. Already Gist has 36 yards on 5 carries after that last one. So as you had mentioned, Greg Christopher, going into tonight, maybe it was time for Miami to finally get that running game in gear. Here's a pitch out to Gist again. Got some room. Breaks it up to about the 46. He fumbled it at the tail end, but it went out of bounds. But Miami did get enough for a first down. Vaughn Booker, the linebacker, up there to make the stop. So he's back in there after that minor injury in the first quarter when he tackled Bates. Let's watch the blocking again.
I really believe Gist and Caldwell are such good athletes that the running game was eventually going to come around this season. Now, some of their success tonight, I think, has to be contributed or attributed to the fact that Cincinnati's front five, again, are inexperienced relatively.
That was an 8-yard pickup. And Bates wants to fire it. He's got Stofa, first catch of the night, and he is close to the first down and should have it. John Lewis on the stop. There's that long scoring drive. It took up 4 minutes, so it took up more time than Miami's drive that went 94 yards, but 72 yards in just 8 plays. A good scoring drive ending with McCoy's pass to Bill Davis. Miami, though, on that pass to Stofa picks up a first down also. He picked up about 12 yards on that last catch. Stofa with 2 receptions already tonight. There's the handoff. This time you see John Caldwell came up and hit him and threw him for a big loss. Gist probably lost 2 or 3 on that play. They'll spot it back at the 44 for a loss of 2.
Caldwell was there and Stewart was there also. You're going to see them both get past their blockers and make it. Great play by Stewart and Caldwell. Tim Rose said Caldwell and Stewart were the people to watch on the Cincinnati defense. If they were going to have to stop somebody, it was going to be Caldwell and then also Stewart, number 99.
So they lose 2 at 2nd and 12, just under 14 minutes left in the half. Miami and UC tied at 7. The Redskins back in UC territory. Bates wants to put it up deep for Schillinger. He's out there. Oh, off his fingertips at the goal line. It would have been a 6-pointer. Bowman back on the coverage.
Would have been Schillinger's first 6-pointer this season also. Once again, Bates had time, and he was on the mark that time, and Schillinger was there.
Showed you a little emotion after the play there, too. It was a good pass. It was just off the outstretched fingertips. You'll see Schillinger, he had it and lost it. He might have had that, again, Bowman's hand up there in his way. Might have shielded him from it a little bit. But it would have been 6. Schillinger had a great year last year with Terry Morris throwing the ball to him for 12 touchdowns to lead the country. But Miami now with 3rd and 12. Bates getting hassled in the backfield. He gets it off. Down for Stofa. That one might be intercepted. No, not quite. Art Sheffield was back there and had a hand on it, but Miami's punting team will have to come in the game.
I think that was just an ill-advised pass. I don't think Bates knew anyone was out there. It looked like he couldn't see downfield right in the last second like he was shielded. They just went ahead and chucked the ball anyway.
Lee Perkins was also back there on the coverage. So again, Chuck Conrad will have to punt it. Roosevelt Mukes will be back deep for the BearCats. Conrad punting from the 44, a high short kick, and Miami will be able to down it at about the 13, so it won't go in the books as a big distance punt, but it is effective. It did what it was supposed to do. Got the ball down to the 13-yard line. So UC is in the hole. This is their worst field position so far tonight.
There we see some of the UC band. They're having a real fun time here tonight.
Well, it's a great rivalry, lots of tradition. Miami has a huge lead in the series with 50 wins. And you can see when the last time UC beat Miami 2 consecutive times. It's been a while back. In the 50s, we have to go back to see that.
You can say that Miami has pretty much dominated this series.
Right up the middle, good running room. And I'll tell you, they just keep bulldozing through Miami up the middle there. That is McKinney again for 6 more yards. When officially we have him with a 72 yards now on 11 tries. Dave Weiner up from a linebacker to make the stop.
The middle of that Cincinnati offensive line is really doing a great job. Center Pat Lavelle and guard Urban Owens are really opening some holes for McKinney and Cry.
Give him 80 yards now officially on 11 tries with a 2nd and 4 from the 19-yard line. So McKinney having a big night. Right up the middle, good hole all the way up to the 32-yard line that time was Scott Tackett. So Tackett makes his first carry of the night, and it's a biggie. He gets about 12 more yards and a first down.
Tackett was last year's starting fullback. After Williams went down with a broken leg, Tackett took over, He's a great receiver. He's got good hands. In high school, he was the top rusher in the state of Kentucky his senior year.
So Tackett gets 12 on his first try. UC racking up the running yards. They had 70 in the first period. McCoy wants to air it out. He's got his man Sanders out at the 40, up to the 42. A gain of 11 and another first down. Rod Korn again in on the stop. There's the UC defense taking a seat on the bench after stopping the Redskins. They've been able to shut Miami down to 4 first downs after the first period, and UC had 9 in the first period.
In fact, McCoy is one of the top 2 quarterbacks coming back this year. Kerwin Bell of Florida is the only quarterback in the nation that ranks above McCoy efficiency-wise.
They want to measure for this first down. They apparently wasn't as far up as what we thought it was with Sanders making that grab. McCoy with that last completion has hit 10 out of 13 so far tonight. That was a first down. So the first down catch out there for 10 yards. That was Sanders' second reception of the night. He spread things around pretty well. A couple of receptions for Bill Davis, a couple for Sanders, a couple for Leonard Cry out of the backfield. And McCoy is back on the beam tonight at least. He's hit 10 out of his first 13 passes, and his team has a 1st and 10 at its own 42. McCoy looking again. He wants to go down the middle to Mukes. Knocked away, incomplete. Somebody, I think, got a hand on that pass. Sheldon White back on the coverage, and there's a flag down also. And McCoy says it's against Miami.
But McCoy doesn't have really the final word in this.
That's true. We'll see. You'll see a lot of times where the players are telling you it's on the other team when in fact it wasn't, but we'll see. A defensive holding call against Miami. Automatic first down. So McCoy was right that time.
I think one of the Miami linebackers kind of grabbed a hold of one of the running backs as they were coming out of the backfield. Kind of an aid to help themselves on the pass coverage.
That'll take it up to the UC 47-yard line for a 1st and 10, or actually a 10-yard walk-off. Steps it into Miami territory at the 48. So UC has spent a lot of time in Miami territory in this first half. They've only had the one score. One of their drives stalled down around the 35-yard line. Another time Leonard Cry fumbled around the Miami 11, and Jeff Anderson fell on the ball. Then they did get one other scoring drive, but they've been in UC or Miami territory 4 consecutive times, each time they've had the ball.
They're really eating up the clock also.
11:55 left in the half. A tie game between UC and Miami at 7-all. Here comes McKinney. Nice stop there. He was belted hard by Mark Christel. He got a couple, but Christel alertly stepped back in there and got him after a gain of about a yard. We'll call it 2nd down and 9. Danny McCoy and company. This time he's got Roosevelt Mukes on one side. He's got Joe Heiss flanked to the near side of the field on 2nd and long. Cry and McKinney in the backfield again, and he fakes the handoff and drops back. He's rushed, he's sacked, he fumbled the ball. I don't know. We'll see who's got it. I think it's going to be UC's ball. It looked like his arm was hit. Dave Weiner was in there. Let's watch it again. There's the rush. He's hit hard. Weiner was one of the ones on top of him. The ball popped loose, but it was recovered. A big loss back to the 43-yard line. And they got a mile to go now. They got to get the ball down to the Miami 39, so they need about 18 yards.
Middendorf, the left tackle for UC, was trying to block Weiner there, and Weiner just got around him, and Middendorf kind of gave the old look-out block to McCoy. Kind of turns around and says, "Look out, Daddy, here comes the defender."
A little too late. Now McCoy's going to operate out of the shotgun for the first time tonight, and he's got 3 wide receivers. Snaps a little low, but he's got time. He's going to bomb it from Mukes. And he dives and can't hang on. He had his man beat, it looked like, and just couldn't quite get it. One of the Miami defenders is down back there, and it's going to be 4th and 18. Watch it again.
Mukes is the man that UC goes to when they want to pass like this. He's the man that they go to get the big play. He's the only one of the receivers that has really great speed.
The coverage wasn't that bad either. It really was not all that bad. He was right there with him, but Mukes almost made a great catch. Schillinger will be back in single safety for Miami on this 4th and 18. So for the 3rd time tonight, the Redskins shut down a UC scoring drive. There's a flag down as this kick comes short to the far side of the field. Comes to Schillinger at about his 15. Trying to circle wide. Nowhere to go. He can about 2 yards. But we'll have to check the flag back upfield.
Schillinger was running east and west quite a bit there, and he just ran out of room.
The officials tell us it's a procedure call against the BearCats. In that first period, the BearCats had 2 penalties, or 1 penalty for 15 yards. Schillinger made about 2 yards on that return.
I'm sure he'd like another try to run it
I think
back.
he'd like to try another one, yeah. He didn't get much on that particular play. Schillinger has had just 3 returns so far this year for 16 yards, about a 5-yard average.
Miami opponents haven't really been punting too much.
No, I was going to say they haven't had to do too much kicking. If they take the ball where Schillinger was stopped, he would be at the 17 is where the official is standing, but it looks like Miami wants to bring it back and make UC punt it again, which would make sense.
Yeah.
You can try to force them into another bad punt and get the ball beyond your 20 rather than behind the 20. So they step it off back to the 38. It'll be 4th down again, 23 yards to go now. Jeff Jones is in there to do the punting this time. Long count, low snap, gets it away. Sheldon White was close to him, but not close enough. Big hop this time down to Schillinger, and I don't think this punt's going to make much difference. He's going to get collared at about the same place. Matter of fact, they lose 2 yards. They actually lost 2 on that. They could have had it at the 17 instead of having it at the 15.
On the first punt, Schillinger took the ball and ran as far as he could to the right. This time he takes it and runs as far as he can to the left. He's probably going, come on, guys, where's the wall for me to run behind?
There was none. So the Redskins take the ball over, 1st and 10 at their own 16-yard line officially. And Mike Bates and company will come to the line of scrimmage here. We are at the 10-minute mark of the second quarter. Bates on the handoff. Mondo Costello nowhere to go. He loses yardage. Art Sheffield up to help make the stop that time.
Costello had...
Coming into tonight's action, he'd only had 1 return on the season for 21 yards. But it's 1st and 10 Miami to give him out to the 32. Here's the pitch back to Gist. He's got a nice running room. Cuts it back across the other way. Out to the 40. Still breaks another tackle and gets about 8 yards.
There you can see, we're going to see at the tail end of the play where Schillinger, he looked like he was just kind of standing around in motion there, not getting his block. Otherwise, Gist had about 5 or 10 more yards.
Watch him here. He cuts it back nicely. Now, let's see if we can see Schillinger coming up there. Schillinger doesn't quite fight off the block, and the man is able to bring him down. I think you're right. He would have probably gone a lot farther if it had not been for that stop. And Schillinger, I think, is probably a little upset with himself. He could have had the block there to spring him. Still, it was a nice gain. Can't knock that. He got about 9 yards out of it. He's about a yard shy of a 1st down, but John Gist has had a big first half of action so far tonight. We unofficially have him now for 50 yards on 8 carries, and keep in mind, coming into tonight's ball game, he only had 78 yards in 3 games.
We're starting to see what I was talking about earlier, Bob. John Gist and Benny Caldwell both have so much athletic talent, they're going to do well. And Dave Curry and his defense, or actually that's Dave Nickel, the offensive coordinator, they're going to be trying to stop John Gist, though Nickel won't. He's trying to tell McCoy, hey, we got to get the ball in the end zone more often.
Well, they've had a lot of opportunities. They've had to settle for a 10-7 lead with 7.5 minutes to go in this first half. Mike Bates leads the Skins up. He has Chris Thomas and John Gist behind him, and Gist in motion. Bates wants to pitch it back to Thomas, and he is killed in the backfield. Art Sheffield picked him up and threw him down for a loss. So it's going to be 3rd down, and instead of 3rd, and it was 2nd and 1, now it's going to be 3rd down and about 3 as they put it back to the 39 for a loss of 2.
Nice tackle by Sheffield, just like you said. He just picked up Thomas right here. We're going to see. He picks him up and just simply throws him down. That's a textbook tackle right there. That's the way to do it. Sheffield is the only man in the Cincinnati secondary who is not returning.
So it's 3rd and 3 now. And let's see, they'll have Schillinger and Stofa flanked out. Bates wants to pass it, throws it loose underneath, and they bobble it, and it's out of bounds, incomplete. So it's going to be 4th down now Steve Fumi, the tight end, had his hands on it, but juggled it and could not come down with it. And I'm not sure where he went out of bounds, whether he would have had a first down or not. There you can see it pops out of his hands, and he's well out of bounds when he gets control of it again.
I don't think Fumi was the primary receiver anyway. Brates was really hurried.
Oh, the punt is almost blocked, but he does get it away. Fair catch by Roosevelt. Mukes at the 17, and he's upset. I think he thought maybe he could have taken that a few yards after he thought about it.
I think he thought the Miami defenders were coming down quicker than they really were.
So Mukes does make the fair catch at the 17, and that's where the BearCats will get their 6th possession. They've scored 2 out of the 5 times they've had it.
There's some Cincinnati fans enthused about their BearCats. Nippert Stadium was the host of the first ever college football game
under the lights. The lights shining brightly here on UC's 3-point lead. Al McKinney up the center of the line, gets about 3 or 4 yards. Mike O'Day and Jeff Anderson were in there, but McKinney running very well tonight. He's already had his hands on the ball 13 times for 84 yards. Some little kids, future UC or Miami players here watching tonight's ball game.
I don't think they're thinking about that right now, though.
I kind of doubt it. They were down bothering the 2 of us when we were doing our pregame show. They wanted to get on TV along with a lot of other people. 6.5 minutes left here in the first half, with the BearCats up by 3 points. Looking for their 2nd straight win. McCoy's going to bomb it. He's got a man out there. Sanders, he caught the ball and goes out of bounds at the Miami 35-yard line. Rod Korn back on the coverage, but a 44-yard bomb.
Once again, the thing that is setting this up for the BearCats, and it has been all night, is the excellent line protection that McCoy is getting.
He has all night, and he just got that ball over Korn's outstretched arms. And a nice catch by Sanders. They actually spotted at the 34-yard line. A 45-yard pass to Sanders at 1st and 10. UC is knocking on the door again. Miami's defense has spent a lot of time on the field. They've been giving up 400 yards a game, as you can see. That's an awful lot of yardage in a ball game. And they have given up plenty tonight. Here comes the reverse handoff to Bill Davis. Watch the pass. He wants to throw. Oh, he's nailed hard, but he gets it away to Mukes, and it is intercepted in the end zone. Jim Harnett intercepted. I'm going to tell you, though, there was one whale of a hit by Mike O'Day back in the backfield on Bill Davis, and I'll bet Davis wishes he would never have unloaded that one.
Davis just got crushed at the end of that play, and he got up slowly walking away. But it works out well for the Redskins.
There's the reverse handoff. Now watch Davis. He stops, and we don't know if you'll see it here at the end. Here comes 72 O'Day. Bam! He nailed him. And the ball on the other end, Harnett steps in front of the receiver right there for the interception. You can see he's clearly in the end zone as he took the ball away from the intended receiver, Joe Heiss. So Miami with another break when UC was starting to push the ball down. That's their 2nd turnover of the night. They've also fumbled a couple times that they've recovered, so they've made quite a few mistakes out here tonight. Bates has Chris Thomas and John Gist back there. Here comes Gist, and this time they nail him for a big loss. Hollis Smith up from the linebacking post. He lost 4 or 5 on that play. So they're starting to look for the Miami runs. Let's watch it again. Gist just has nowhere to go. That time, as we said, Smith just beat the blocker, got there before, filled the hole for a loss of 3 on Gist. So they're starting to shut the Miami running game down a little bit in this period. Schillinger and Stofa are the wide receivers. Bates fakes the handoff. Got some pressure. He's hit. And he is down.
I think there was a fumble on the play, too, but the Redskins are going to keep the ball.
Booker was back there. 2 or 3 defenders, but Bates is thrown for a big loss all the way back to the 8-yard line. You can see the wall, the blocking just breaks down. 99 in there.
Stewart's
Here comes
the one that
Booker.
started it.
Booker was the one that came around from the outside, then puts him away there. The ball did pop up, but I think it was after he hit the ground. So it's 3rd and 22, a loss of 10 by Bates. First time they really sacked him for a big loss there. 10-7 UC, but Miami in the hole now. Right up the middle, big hole that time for Armando Costello. Still going all the way out to the 28-yard line. Not enough for the first down. Lee Perkins finally stopped him, but that at least gets him into decent field position to punt the ball.
It gives Conrad a little more operating room so he's not backed up against his own end zone.
You'll see the draw play here. Costello finds some daylight, stumbles a little bit, and still keeps going. But he picked up 20 yards on that play. But it is 4th down. Mukes under tremendous pressure there was the punter, Conrad. But Mukes will have time this time. Back at his 20. He's already got 10 yards on the return and is driven out by Iafolla at about the 31-yard line.
Conrad did a good job of getting his punt off there. Once again, Mike Davis's snap was a little low, and Conrad was able to get it off, though.
They're getting a little congratulations on the sideline because I think his teammates realize that was very, very close to being a block. A 12-yard return by Mukes gets it up to the 32, and here come the Bearcats again. They have been shutting Miami down the last couple series, 3 plays and punt. And anytime you put your defense on the field against an explosive offense like UC's a lot, you're going to run into some problems.
It's going to eventually wear them down until time comes in the 3rd or 4th quarter. It may show quite a bit.
4:24 left in this first half. UC leads Miami 10-7. McCoyne on the handoff to McKinney. Got some room to the outside. Steps it up, keeps going. He just bullying his way through tacklers and gets about 7 yards. Matt Kahn up there to help make the stop. But McKinney showing us some real running ability out here tonight. Let's watch him again. He's just going to push through 3 or 4 tackles.
He gets a blocker out there. Tackett does a good job for him to get rid of one man, but then McKinney just takes on 3 or 4 Miami defenders and gets another 5 yards by himself.
Actually put him back to the 37 for a gain of only 5 or 6 yards on that play. We'll call it 2nd down and a long 4. Sanders and Davis, the wideouts. McCoyne looking Sanders' direction, got him close to 1st down yardage, up at about the 42-yard line. Rod Korn has had to make a lot of stops tonight. That's about the 4th or 5th time we've seen him in there to make a hit. They have not moved the chains yet, and they want to bring it across.
There's Korn. He's a junior college transfer out of Santa Ana Junior College.
5 stops he's been involved in already tonight. They're going to bring the chains all the way across the field to measure this one with 4:10 left in the first half. The Bearcats trying to drive down for another score. They are up by 3, scoring on a Miami turnover, a field goal to take the lead. They stretch the chains out and say 1st and 10 for the Bearcats. So Sanders on his 4th catch of the night picks up 4 yards and a 1st down up to the 42-yard line. Also, McKinney is closing in on the 100-yard mark here in the first half of play for UC. He's already got 90 yards. He is the leading ground gainer on this team. He'd averaged 4 yards a crack on 62 carries. That's good for about 246 yards coming into tonight's ball game. So 1st and 10 UC at its own 43-yard line. McCoyne brings the backs up in the eye and is looking to pass. He's got great time again. Wide open receiver out to the midfield stripe. That's his tight end that time. Huber, 2nd reception of the night. Coyne's hit 13 of 19 passes. He got good yardage out of that one, and it's going to be 2nd and short again. Rod Korn, we're calling his name quite a bit, made the stop. Another 1st down.
There you see a stat on Huber. He's the big Bearcat tight end. He caught the winning pass against Miami last year.
A yard away, too.
That's right.
3:40 and the clock ticking here in the first half. McCoyne once more looking, got his man Huber again. Harnett in on the stop, but he's going to the tight end quite a bit here in this series. McCoyne hitting 70% of his passes so far tonight. That one good for about 8 yards.
That touchdown pass that Huber caught last year was the only one that he caught all year.
Insalaco, the UC field goal kicker, is down on the sidelines practicing just in case he's needed here in the final 3 minutes of the half. But of course UC would like a touchdown to take a 10-point halftime lead rather than just